When people see XXX, they think porn, but there's another layer to it. In Pythagorean gematria, numerical system, the letter X decodes to the number 6. So XXX isn't just a label, it reads as 666. This isn't complicated, and it isn't a stretch. Pythagorean gematria assigns numbers to letters in a repeating 1 to 9 cycle. Track it through the alphabet, and you'll land on X equals 6. Put 3 X's together, and you get 3 6's in a row. XXX equals 666, just like in Hollywood, the music industry, and other Judaic Masonic-dominated industries. This is another example of Jewish satanic symbolism hiding in plain sight. Porn is made to sell sexual gratification. Most viewers aren't hunting for symbolism. But porn still uses branding and visual tropes the same way movies, music videos, and advertising do. When you look across a lot of content, across industries, certain themes repeat, an agenda comes into view. You'll see black and white interracial themes, symbolic of duality, light and darkness. You'll see star language, porn star, star performer, because star is a standard code for the sun. You'll see fertility imagery, because sex is the product and reproduction symbolism is an obvious adjacent aesthetic, youth, curves, pregnancy roleplay, breeding language, and so on. This reproduction symbolism harkens back to fertility, sun god and moon goddess, the eclipse as sexual union, the number 33 coming together as 6. Religious themes, symbolism, and imagery shows up because it's a religious agenda. The defilement of Christianity, crosses, habits, nuns, priests, angels, devils, sin, religious language. These are pre-built symbols loaded with meaning, so they create a strong reaction. The same logic explains devil aesthetics, horns, red and black palettes, temptation, corruption. It's subtle packaging, linking a chemical reward to sexual deviance and the defilement of Christianity. You'll also see gender bending and trans themes. Categories get blended, thumbnails get more extreme, and boundaries get pushed. That produces crossovers, trans performers in mainstream listings, angel and devil fantasy mixed with trans content, and mashups like Trans Angel. It's subtle symbolism. It's not only a business model, it is psychosexual targeting. From a psychology point of view, sexual media can influence a person's sense of morality and boundaries through a few very ordinary mechanisms. Repeated exposure reduces disgust, shock, habituation. Arousal makes learning stickier, reinforcement. And novelty-seeking can shift preferences toward more extreme, boundary-blurring material over time. If someone's morals are tied to clear categories, male and female, sacred and profane, pure and impure, then content that eroticizes category violations, gender bending, taboo religious imagery, power reversal, can create internal friction. Either the person feels guilt, shame, and doubles down on their morals, or they adapt by reinterpreting the moral rule. Maybe this isn't as wrong as I thought. It's only fantasy. Morality is more flexible than I assumed. That's warfare. It's predictable conditioning and identity psychology. The moral impact depends heavily on the viewer's baseline values, frequency of use, and whether the content is experienced as compulsive, loss of control, versus chosen, integrated into their identity. Porn can create internal friction when what turns you on doesn't match what you believe is right, dignified, faithful, or who you are. Psychologically, that friction is basically a clash between two systems: the fast reward system, arousal, novelty, dopamine-driven learning, and the slower identity and values system, self-concept, morality, commitments. When porn becomes a repeated pattern, arousal doesn't just feel good in the moment, it trains attention. Your brain starts predicting the reward. Craving builds, and cues, being alone, late at night, certain apps, become triggers. If your values disapprove, the same act then produces shame, secrecy, or self-disgust afterward. That creates a loop: stress, porn to regulate feelings, guilt, more stress, more porn. Even people without religious morals can get friction if they value self-control, intimacy, or authenticity and feel their behavior is compulsive, numbing, or disconnected from real relationships. A second kind of friction is preference drift. Novelty is a strong driver in sexual arousal, and repeated exposure can nudge people toward more intense, taboo, or different content to get the same hit. If the new content conflicts with identity, I'm not that kind of person, you get cognitive dissonance. Some resolve it by quitting, some by compartmentalizing. It's just fantasy, and some by changing beliefs. Maybe my old rule was wrong. None of those resolutions is neutral. Quitting can feel like withdrawal and mourning. Compartmentalizing can widen the gap between public self and private self. Changing beliefs can feel like relief or like surrender, depending on the person. A third friction point is relational. Porn can compete with real intimacy because it offers control, novelty, and zero vulnerability. Real sex involves rejection risk, negotiation, and emotional exposure. If porn becomes the easy regulator, a person can start avoiding the harder work of connection, then feel lonely, resentful, or broken, which again feeds the loop. This is also where moral language shows up even for secular people. They may feel they're using others, training themselves to objectify, or building expectations that don't translate into respectful intimacy. So you may ask, who are the people involved in this religious psychological warfare? Boundary blurring, gender-bending ideology.
The source of evil is God, not Satan. In Judaism, Satan is God.
I think, Mike, maybe you're the best one for this. Maybe the background of Jews and the adult entertainment industry, either from the filmmaking perspective, management perspective, active perspective, viewing perspective. Share.
You sure this isn't one you want to take? I have some thoughts on it. Jews in the adult industry, there's a lot of them. It was pretty much founded by the adult industry, or I'm sorry, the Jews. I had a couple beers. The adult industry was pretty much founded by the Jews. Basically, in the early 1900s, the German Jewish immigrants came in, and when they were trying to get into different industries, there was a lot of anti-Semitism where they couldn't get into normal lines of work. I'm not saying that porn's not normal. So they gravitated towards the porn industry because it's like kind of the seedier cousin of the Hollywood industry, which had already been controlled by the Jews. And basically they pretty much just took it over. If you look at the big stars, did I break my chair already?
I think so.
Okay. So basically back in, the 1960s, 70s, it was founded by people like Danny Mamet, Danny Skura. And then later in the 80s, the godfather of the modern day porn industry, his name was Reuben Sterman, who was actually an Orthodox Jew. He owned over 200 bookstores all around the country. He's actually my godfather, which is kind of weird. Reuben Sterman, what the Jews did pretty much was they revolutionized the adult industry and made it their own. So there was no space for anti-Semitism, and they basically controlled everything. So back in the 80s, the only way you could get pornography was to go through someone like Reuben Sterman, and he controlled, all of his stores and all the stores that he didn't own. They actually had to pay him a tax to carry his product, and he was the only place that you could get product from, peep shows from. And later, what the Jews did was they started the manufacturing end of the business. There were a lot of Italians that were coming into the business, but what they did was they created the manufacturing side, which is the replication, the printing, because back in the day, if you wanted to make a VHS or a beta tape or whatever, you couldn't go down to Kinko's or any mainstream printer and be like, I want to print, Gang Bang My Mom #3. I'm keeping it clean.
Yeah, no, you can.
I promised I would.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah.
That works too. We haven't done that yet, but. So what they did was they created all these companies that manufactured DVDs and VHS and beta and printing, and all the companies pretty much had to go through the Jews. Reuben Sterman, actually, eventually he died in prison. They tried to get him from obscenity back in the 80s, which was a big thing. It actually still is. There is an obscenity arrest today. But he eventually died in prison because of tax evasion, because he didn't want to pay taxes. So that's, it happens.
Yeah, Jews and money.
Yeah, Jews and money is the next taboo talk. Coming next year.
Rabbi,
Buy your tickets today.
you want to weigh in on this? So let's follow that up with the relationship between the Jews who got involved in this industry because they couldn't get involved in mainstream Hollywood, and their relationship with non-Jews then who were in this industry. Was there a stigma? Because while they did control a variety, historically control a lot of this industry, was there a stigma about those who are actively, let's say, making the films about being Jewish in this movie? Was there a stigma within it? And was there a stigma from other Jews who are in the community? And where is that at today versus historically?
Let me just answer that question with, back in the 70s, the majority of the male porn performers were Jewish, and the majority of the female performers were Roman Catholic.
Wow, that is so weird, that even in such a twisted so-called industry, such a disgusting industry, you see Jews and Catholics together. It's amazing, it's insane. The Fifth Kingdom mingled Jews and Roman Catholics.
But
That's the next question. Porn names.
But it's kind of funny because those guys came into the industry, and I actually asked a couple of them, because I asked Ron Jeremy, and I was like, why did you guys, decide to go into the porn industry? Like, what was it that drew you? And besides, like, the obvious, they're like, I got to fuck Roman Catholic chicks and fulfill every fan. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. You're okay. Okay, you'll know.
And to fornicate with Roman Catholics and fulfill like every fantasy that every Jewish boy has ever had. So I think the Jewish performers, they've always been really prevalent in the industry, and even now Ron Jeremy is still, like one of the most well-known performers. James Dean, Joanna Angel, there's Daphne Rosen, there's a bunch of them. And for the most part, the business side is still controlled by Jews. You have Steve Hirsch, who runs Vivid. You have Steve Orenstein, who runs Wicked. You have me, who runs the biggest porn company in the world. Second biggest. But for the most part, all the business owners are pretty much Jewish, or have Jewish ties, or at some point worked for a Jew in the porn business.
How an ordained rabbi ended up owning the world's most famous porn company. Yeah. What a headline. And what was his reasoning? Well, opportunity, of course, to make money.
So, Mr. Freeman, you're one of the most accomplished defense lawyers in the city. Why do you get involved with the company that owns porn?
Because this is an opportunity, once we looked into the company and the work that it does and what it is capable of doing in the future, that I and my partners couldn't pass up. When we got to look deeply at their leading state-of-the-art technology for fingerprinting images, for detecting illegal content, for age estimation, a robust trust and safety system, we realized very quickly, and I realized personally, this is something that cannot be kept in the adult industry. It has to be shared with the rest of the world. These are tools that could significantly change trust and safety on the internet for adults and young people alike, and it's exciting to be part of that.
Out of all the businesses you guys could buy, why did you guys target buying Pornhub?
Yeah, so we saw an extraordinary opportunity. The fact that it's newsworthy or noteworthy that we've made the acquisition, that should tell you that this is a space that has not had mainstream investment, right? That it's a space, I always said, when we looked at the business, it's a business that's legal. Not only is it legal, but in every Western democracy, it's constitutionally protected. It could not be outlawed, even if you wanted to, but it doesn't have that legitimacy. And one of the reasons for that, and as we started to examine the business further, was that nobody wanted to say we are the owners of a major adult company, right? Everyone, they wanted the benefits of owning a major adult company. It's a profitable business, but nobody wanted to be out front and engaging with other tech businesses, with government, with law enforcement, with regulation in that sort of way that the modern tech industry has to. So we saw in that this arbitrage opportunity, right? Where if people who come from the mainstream professional networks, whether it's law enforcement, tech, finance, etc., this is an opportunity to really bring this industry into the 21st century. We saw an extraordinary opportunity to do that with this this jewel of an asset, Pornhub, but obviously the entire company.
I love it. You said jewel of an asset. So I'm going to give you some stats here that we see. So one, it says 2018 Pornhub alone witnessed a jaw-dropping 5.8 billion hours of content consumption, which, by the way, is kind of strange because most men should only be watching for a minute or two, right? But this is like when you hear 5.8 billion
no,
hours.
Patrick, our average visit is about 10 and a half minutes.
They probably got off the computer and they left the website on, but there's a different story there. So that's nearly 665 centuries of material over a single platform in just 1 year. Here's another one for you. The world was flocking to Pornhub in 2018 with a whopping 63,992 new visitors per minute. Is that true? 63,992 new visitors per month.
Doesn't sound unreasonable.
33.5 billion visitors. Insane, right? Mm-hmm. And the most popular day to visit Pornhub is Sunday. You guys got all these different stats. And you even put up a stat recently on which state consumed the least while the election was going on and who was committed to it. So you're also involved in the election stuff that's going on, right? But at the same time, you got a petition. I think something came out that says more than 2.2. Thank you so much, Kelly. More than 2.2 million people have signed an online petition to shut down the site. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think that the topic of pornography has always been a divisive one. I think it has to do with the topic of sexuality in general, right? There are always going to be different views about human sexuality, and pornography is just emblematic of those. In fact, it's a little more public. It's more in your face. That's the nature of it. It's sex for the public. So you're going to have people who have really deeply held convictions about the proper place of sex in our society, and that's a good debate. There's nothing wrong with that debate. But you take 2.5 million signatures, we have 130 million daily active users. So people have voted with their mice and with their feet in terms of where they're going to go. But of course, it's going to be a subject of public debate.
Wait, wasn't the Talmud the one that stated that they recognize up to 8 genders? And isn't it interesting that Orthodox rabbi is involved in this, making money, profiting from human trafficking, from rape, and destroying young people's minds? Epstein being tied to Talmud. And the Bible explicitly tells us that it is a shame to even speak about the things that are done in secret.
Owned by the megaporn parent company MindGeek, Pornhub averages 42 billion visits per year. That's 115 million visits every day. Most of the content featured on their site is user-generated, amassing 6 million new videos each year. That would take 169 years to watch. Pornhub has become the global epicenter of internet pornography. The company makes hundreds of millions of dollars through ad revenue, data collection, and premium subscriptions, and is blatantly enabling and profiting from rape, sexual abuse, and child sex trafficking. Like the missing 15-year-old girl who was found after 58 videos of her rape were posted on Pornhub. Or Rose Kalemba, the 14-year-old, who the BBC reported was kidnapped at knife point, raped and assaulted on camera for 12 hours, and had to beg Pornhub for months and threaten legal action to remove the videos of her rape and torture. Or the images of a toddler being sexually abused, found through an investigation by the Sunday Times. Or the 22 women who were deceived and coerced by the producers of Girls Do Porn, a popular Pornhub partner channel, whose owners now face a federal indictment for child pornography, sex trafficking of a minor, sex trafficking, and sexual abuse. These examples only begin to scratch the surface of the sexual crimes found on Pornhub. According to the Internet Watch Foundation, in only 2 years, they processed and confirmed 118 cases of child rape and trafficking on Pornhub. These aren't models or actresses playing a role in a movie. These are real videos of women and children being sexually abused, violated, and traumatized. And Pornhub is deeply complicit. They have no system to reliably verify the age or consent of anyone featured in their videos it profits from. The largest porn site in the world makes it insanely easy for users to upload videos of real sexual violence. And in doing so, they forever memorialize the trauma of their victims, all for the profit and pleasure of Pornhub and its users.
There's a difference, though. So, in other words, what I'm getting from you, I asked 3 times now, there is no way to verify at all. There is no 100% proven way to verify if any of the porn that is on Pornhub isn't underage at the time that it was shot.
There are many ways to verify.
So
we have humans who watch every video. Let's start there.
But you can watch a video and you won't be able to tell if somebody's under 18 or not.
Of course, you certainly can. You can tell if somebody is well under. You can tell if somebody is of age. We can look at the ID. We can look at the time of upload. We can look at the circumstances of the making of the video.
Mathematically impossible for you to be able to know if at the time that the video was shot, the person was underage.
Leonid Radvinsky is a United Kingdom-based Ukrainian-American billionaire businessman and computer programmer. He is the founder of the cam site MyFreeCams and the majority owner content subscription service OnlyFans. Radvinsky was born in Odessa and his family later emigrated to Chicago when he was a child. In 2002, he graduated from Northwestern University with a degree in economics. He is Jewish. And if we just simply Google and ask who is AIPAC's biggest donor, it says that based on leaked internal documents from late 2023 and early 24, Leonid Radvinsky, the billionaire owner of OnlyFans, was identified as the largest single contributor to AIPAC, American Israel Public Affairs Committee, following the October 7th, 2023 attack on Israel. So, leaked documents indicate that Radvinsky and his wife reportedly pledged $11 million after October 7th, 2023. Radvinsky has denied making or pledging this specific amount. Sure, and Epstein doesn't have an island. And Radvinsky isn't the owner of OnlyFans and he's not Jewish. I mean, why would he confess? No one does. And how are those arrests going? Maybe Mr. Trump can comment on that. Oh, I forgot, he can't. He's going to war. He's going to war against Iran. That's right. He can't do anything about it at the moment. His hands are tied, literally, by Netanyahu.